Hello everyone and welcome to Don't Be Bored. Today it's the board game quiz. Think the pub quiz that you go to, but all about board games. We've got a variety of rounds such as Lucky Dip, we've got years, we've got components and all that sort of goodness. So hopefully it's going to test your board game knowledge and be a lot of fun along the way. I'm joined by a few teams who are going to be answering the questions alongside the video and will be giving their score at the end of it. So you can see where you can compare against some of these creators and drop your score for the full quiz in the comments section below to let the world know how well you have done. So let's introduce the teams and say hello to them.
Hi, I'm Barb, Maple PhD, and I am so ready for this quiz. Let's go.
Hi, this is Amy from Board Game Blitz, and I guess I'm going to do this quiz.
Hi, I'm Josh from the YouTube channel Josh Yaks, here to test my board gaming knowledge.
So you know how this is all going to work. There are going to be 5 rounds full of 6 questions each for a total of 30 points. I'll go through the 6 questions in a round and then go over the answers. It won't be question, answer, question, answer. Now without further ado, let's jump into the question set, with round 1 being game knowledge, with question 1 being, in Love Letter 2019 edition, which of these cards has the highest value? Is it the Spy, the King, or the Countess? It's a fantastic little game, Love Letter. If you've not played it, very portable, very small deck of cards. Question 2. In a standard game of Catan, how many pastures are on the board in terms of the number of hexagons? How many are there? Might be a while since some of you out there have played Catan, rolled those dice for sheep, for bricks and all that sort of goodness. But how many pastures are there? Question number 3. I recently reviewed this game, Huggy or Hugar, on the channel, but what was it originally called when released by Sashi in Japan? Question number 4. There's many games out there that allow you to mix and match stuff together and make a cooler experience by crazy combos. But what game allows you to play Bruce Lee versus Bigfoot? And it's going to be a little hint here, it is on my top 100. Question number 5. How many players can play the base game of Final Girl? It's a fantastic little horror sort of experience that you can get with dice rolls, cards to buy, with time that you need to manage, but how many players can play the base game of it? And the last question of the round, number 6. In Downforce, excluding any special ability cards, what's the furthest a car can move when someone plays a single card? Fantastic little driving game for you, where you do block each other going round corners and such. A lot of fun, Downforce. But what's the furthest you can move without including special abilities? So there we have the 6 questions for the round of game knowledge. Let's go over the answers. And remember, each one is worth a point. So score a point, give yourself a tick, and let's see how well you did. In Love Letter, the highest valued card that I mentioned was the Countess, just slightly below the Princess herself. In a standard game of Catan, there are indeed 4 pastures. So if you got that right, give yourself a point. Huggy was originally named Before the Guests Arrive. The game that sees Bigfoot versus Bruce Lee, well, that might need 2 boxes, but the game is unmatched. A bit of a trick question because only 1 player can play Final Girl. It is a solo game experience. And in Downforce, the furthest a car can move in number of spaces on a turn, excluding a special ability, is when you play that car's coloured card, which is an 8 movement. Hopefully you've got a few points already in the bag and maybe you're beating some of our creators. Now let's go on to round 2, which is components. In this round, you're going to see pictures of components. All you need to tell us is what game is it from. And again, we'll go through all the images and then I'll reveal the answers. So let's jump into the first one. What game is this card from? It's a fairly unique looking card, but can you guess which game it's from? And number 2, a very different looking game. What is this token from? Next up we have this little resource. Oh, what game could this be from? Is it a popular game? Is it not? Number 4, this is a slightly spooky component. Number 5 for you cat lovers out there, but what game is this from? And the last one, what game does this dice come from? There we have it. There are the 6 images. Hopefully you had a good look at each of them and you've managed to determine what game they are from. Now let's reveal the answers. The card is from Kirial the Jewel, a fantastic little small, again portable game where one-on-one of you fight as samurais. The next one is of course a token from Quacks of Quedlinburg. You are going to be dropping this into your potion. Next up, it's a resource from Scythe, of course, a fantastic game from Stonemaier Games. Next up is The Ghost from Ghost Blitz, and if you've put the German name, that is absolutely fine. Next up, that cat was from the fantastic family game of Seven Wonders Architects. And last but not least, it was a dice from Railroad Inc., a fantastic game series where you are rolling, writing and drawing out these rails and roads across the board to score points. Moving on to round 3, it's all about years, and in some of these you will have multiple choice, so fear not. You don't necessarily need to know exactly, but a ballpark should nudge you in the right direction of the correct answer. The first question is, in what year did Carcassonne release? A fantastic tile-laying game. Was it in 1990, 1995, 2000 or 2005? Just note down the year that you think it's going to be and I'll give you the answer in a minute. Question number 2. What year did Just One win the Spiel des Jahres award? Was it in 2017, 2018, 2019 or 2020? Question number 3. Watergate was released by Capstone Games in 2019, but can you name one of the 3 years the actual Nixon scandal of Watergate happened? And there's 3 years, you only need to write one of them. A little bit of history for you, if you know your board games and what they're based upon. Question number 4. What year was Days of Wonder founded? Was it 1998, 2000, 2002 or 2004? It seems like this company's been going for many years, but when was it founded? This question maybe gives you a little bit of a hint towards the last one, that Days of Wonder released Ticket to Ride in 2004, but when did it release Ticket to Ride Europe? Not going to give you any A, B, C or D on this one because you had a bit of a clue already. And last but not least, for you crowdfunding fans out there, what year was Gloomhaven originally kickstarted? So we're not talking about the second printing, Frosthaven or anything like that. When was it originally kickstarted and funded? Giving you a little bit more time to think about all of those. And now, should we go through the answer? Carcassonne was first released in 2000. I know that seems like a long time ago, but also only yesterday. Just One won the Spiel des Jahres award in 2019. The Watergate scandal actually happened in 1972 to 1974. So if you've got 72, 73 or 74, you get a point for that. No bonus points for the range or anything else. Next up, Days of Wonder was actually founded in 2002. And for the next question, Ticket to Ride Europe was released a year after that in 2005. While Gloomhaven does seem to be a very new game, well, actually it's been a while now since it was originally crowdfunded back in September of 2015. I know that was a particularly hard round, so let's go on to something a little bit easier, abbreviations. Question number 1. A popular transport-themed game, TTR. But what does TTR stand for? Question number 2. Guards of Atlantis is a MOBA-style game, but what does MOBA actually stand for? There's a way to play board games on a computer that's known as TTS, but what does that stand for? And while we're talking about board games online on a computer, there's another way, which is known as BGA. But what does that actually stand for? Just a little bit of fun one. That's actually owned by Asmodee themselves. There's a fantastic space opera of a game, and it's abbreviated often to TI4. But what does that stand for? And last but not least, there is a game with hexagonal tiles, very popular, known as COB. But what game is that abbreviation of? I'll just give you a few more seconds as maybe you're thinking of fantastic hexagons, space operas and playing games on your computer. But let's go over the answers. The popular transport game, well, you got a little bit of a hint in the previous round. TTR is Ticket to Ride. Guards of Atlantis is a MOBA, and that stands for Multiplayer Online Battle Arena. The first way I said about playing games on your computer was TTS, and that is Tabletop Simulator. The second one was BGA, which is Board Game Arena. Give yourself a point if you got those right. The space opera game is just about there on the shelf. It is Twilight Imperium 4, or 4th edition if you really want to be fancy about it. And last but not least in this round, the game with hexagons, money, sort of lots of shininess if you've got the fancy version, is Castles of Burgundy. Now we move on to the final round, which is Lucky Dip. Some fun ones in here that hopefully allow you to just grab those extra points and move up the sort of leaderboard against everyone else that's watching. And again, remember, do put your scores in the comment section below when you finish watching and share it with friends so they can compete against your score. Anyway, into the final round of Lucky Dip, and let's start with question number 1. Which of these games does not have a Pokemon re-implementation or re-theming? Splendor, Point Salad, or 7 Wonders? 3 very different games, but 2 of them have a Pokemon re-theme. Which one doesn't? In 2023, Stonemaier Games was using a code name for one of their upcoming games, of Hive. But what game did that turn out to be? In the legacy-style game of My City, you're placing tiles onto your board. Are they triangles, squares, or hexagons? What board game company / publisher is behind the very successful franchise of Zombicide? Question number 5. In the very popular game from last year, Earth, you are tasked with planting cards into your grid. But what resource do you use and spend to actually play cards into your grid? And last but very much not least, the very final question of the quiz. In terraforming Mars, there are 3 global parameters that you're trying to do on Mars to make it habitable. But what are they? Name 2 of the 3 things that you're trying to do. You can name all 3, but you don't get any bonus marks. But you need to name 2 of them to get a point. Giving you a little bit of time. Think terraforming Mars. Think brilliant, fantastic other games that may be from Stonemaier. Now let's jump into the answers. As of recording, there is a Pokemon Splendor, there is a Pokemon version of Point Salad, but there is not, unfortunately, a Pokemon re-theme of 7 Wonders. The Hive code name was used by Stonemaier to talk about Apiary, which has since released, and well, there's bees in space. I was trying to nudge you towards that one. Hopefully you got the hint. My City, unlike My Island, which you may have got it slightly confused with, because My Island uses hexagons, My City uses squares. The company behind the Zombicide franchise, be that the Marvel Zombies, Deceased, the standard ones, the Wild West, well, they all come from Simon or Cool Mini or not. What resource were you paying in Earth? Well, you pay a lot of soil to plant those things into your grid. So if you went with soil, that was the correct answer. And last but not least, in terraforming Mars, there are 3 global parameters. You needed to have named 2 of them. The number of oceans that you've got to put down to raise the temperature, and the other one is increase oxygen. If you wrote 2 of those 3 down, give yourself a point. If you got all 3, give yourself a point and a pat on the back, but you don't get any bonus marks for it. And now, tot up your scores and see how you did out of 30 points in total. Time to check in with the creators that have been doing the quiz alongside you so you can see where you fit in on this sort of leaderboard. Let us know if you've beaten them and what your score was in the comments section below.
Hi, it's Ambi again from Board Game Blitz. I ended up getting 4, 4, 1, 6, and 5 points in the respective rounds for a total of 20 points out of 30.
Well, that was interesting. In the first section, game knowledge, I scored 3 out of 6. The second section, components, I scored 0 out of 6. In the years section, in section 3, I scored 0 out of 6 as well. In the fourth one, I scored a perfect 6 out of 6. The abbreviations one, which is kind of ironic because I can't stand it when people write board game names as abbreviations and just assume that everybody knows what they're talking about. And then in the fifth and final section, I scored 3 out of 6 for a final score of 12 out of 30. Well, I guess my 21 years on Board Game Geek didn't help me out too much, but at least I had fun. Thanks, Holly.
Well, maybe I wasn't as ready for that quiz as I thought I was. I took it, but I only got 17. I hope you did better than I did.
I really hope you have enjoyed the quiz. I put it together. It was a bit of fun putting it together, but I do hope that you have enjoyed it. Hopefully the questions weren't too out there, too unusual, and if you're into board games, you certainly got some points. As I've been keep saying, please do let us know your score in the comments, but also let me know what you thought of this format, etc. Because, well, if it goes down well, maybe I'll do another one in the future. Thanks to the creators that did join me and sort of gave their scores and hopefully enjoyed themselves as well along the way. And, well, until next time, please subscribe for more stuff on the channel and much, much more. Until next time, have a fantastic, quizzical good day.